So in the previous stream earlier today, we put a menu in. So now I can run this game, and there's a menu, and we did some nice things with the colors. That was all great, and we have a sub-menu. So this menu is in English, though, and most people in the world, English is not their native language. So I figured since today was menu day, it would also be a day to get the internationalization stuff into the game, at least mostly. Typically, that is stuff that you could wait till toward the end of the game to do, but part of my whole exercise is I'm building a complete engine in this language so that I can see where the language does well and where it needs a little more work and stuff, right? And so that just sort of means, oh, we can turn the music off. That just sort of means visiting all these areas possibly sooner than later. Menu month. Well, this is not, of course, the final menu, right? This was like getting a menu in the game. It'll, of course, be iterated on and all that. So here's what I'm going to do is I have some relatively small internationalization code that's in the witness. And I'm going to pull both the strings and the text over into this new game, and then we'll make it work. We'll transliterate it from C++ to the new language. Again, not using an automated tool. I'm just going to type it in because I want to streamline the code and clean it out and just think about it as I do it. Look at that. We did all that today. All right. So let me go to witness run tree data strings. So we have two sets of strings in the witness, actually. We have the subtitles, which is like all the text for the audio recordings. Let's just look at those. We're not going to do these today, but since we're talking about internationalization, these are in a format that we just made up, and it's like, okay, here's the name of the recording, like here's the credits, and at time 0.1, put this on the screen, and at time 5.7, and at time 10, etc. So, this just puts the subtitles on the bottom of the screen. We're not doing those today. What we're going to do is these, which is sort of the older format. This is a PO file format, which is used, I guess, by Unix people a lot. And frankly, it's not a very good format, but it's what we used in Braid and the Witness for all the menu and regular string type of stuff. And so I think what I'm going to do is use this to start, and then we'll switch away from it later in the project. So this format has a text representation, which is .po, and then a data representation, which is .mo, right? And what happens is the text representation is human editable. It's a dumb format, but it's human editable. And then you run a tool to compile it down. And to compile these down, we actually use a third-party tool called POEdit. So I can click on this, and it just sort of gives you this. And this looks like a nice GUI, but actually it's not the best GUI to really work on things, because often you want to have like 20 languages open at the same time and like see what's going on and see if there's strings missing in some languages or whatever, for which this is not an appropriate tool. So we'll probably go to our own stuff later. But this is all just to say this .mo format I don't have much of a problem with. It's basically just a binary blob that's a mapping from short string labels to it's basically a mapping from, let's find a long string to look at. I know there were some, well, like here, it's just a mapping from this to this stored in a binary format. And that's very simple, and I really don't have an issue with it. So I feel like what we'll end up doing later is we'll do a different text format than PO and then compile down to MO or something. But then again, MO is so trivial. Maybe we'll just eventually be all on our own format, because it's such a simple thing. But to get this running early, I'm just going to sort of copy what I have now into a different language, and then we'll use that as a point for evolution. Are we flickering? Should I reset the stream to stop flickering or something? I complained to Twitch today about the flickering.
Yeah.
I don't know why I flicker all the time. So anyway, any questions? And should I restart the stream, or are we good? Okay. Apparently people on source quality don't see flickering, and people on compressed quality do. The problem is then if I export this to YouTube later, there's no way to get the source quality over to YouTube, so the archive flickers. All right. Well, people aren't complaining about flickering, so I'm going to keep going with the stream as it is. So here's a question. Currently, the menu interaction is independent of the drawing. If you have mouse interaction, do you create menu item rects and then draw and test based on those rects? Or do you create rects at draw time? You know, it kind of depends on how you want to do it. The way that I would do it is just at draw time. I would do it in the immediate mode style, right? Which is just while I'm drawing, just check where the mouse is, etc. We'll probably do that later. And not tonight later, but some other time. You know, because the whole construct rects and store them in a data structure somewhere, then you have to update those if the text changes, and it just sucks. Like that's why GUI libraries are so complicated, is because they're retained mode like that, right? So in general, good feeling UIs are usually immediate mode. So I tend toward immediate mode. Why not just load a simple JSON file or whatever? Because JSON's a terrible format. And when you load it, that's slow because you're parsing and doing memory allocations and all that, right? The point of .mo is that you just load the file into memory and you're done. You just get pointers into it to reference the strings. In the C++ file that I'm going to do, we actually build an ancillary hash table to help us look up things in the file faster, but you don't even really need to do that, especially, you know, depending on how many strings there are. So, I mean, JSON is great if you want your program to be butt slow, like the web is. But otherwise, you want a small and simple format that's binary and that you can read immediately. Get back to programming asteroids? Was someone programming asteroids? What is a good format? Well, I mean, I don't think that these generalized file formats, so JSON is probably better than XML. Like, I think XML is probably the worst file format that I've seen in a long time. But anything that's trying to be a general data description format is usually not, I've never had a reason to use something like that for legit purposes, right? So everything that we do tends to be a very small, simple format that does the job of what we need there. So, you know, another simple format that we would have that's a text format would be like the declarations of the variables that you want to tweak for your game, right? So like, let's go into the witness for a second. Witness, run true data. So here's a different format that has variables in the witness, and you know, it just says, okay, here's a folder, audio, and now we've got all these audio variables, right? Here's physics, and now we've got physics variables, whatever. And the compiler knows what types these are supposed to be, so it can parse either an int or a Boolean or a string, and that's it. That's all this format is. So even though it's text, this can actually be read very quickly. We just crank through it, right? We don't have to really parse it, so to speak. Wouldn't it be less friction to not have to compile text formats into binary formats? Yes, it would. And so I'm considering later on not even doing that. Or really what I'm considering is the following, that, you know, so right now for the past 2 games, we would always like click on the PO file and, well, I don't think I can build it here actually because I have to upgrade to Pro. Oh no, I did. So you hit Control S and it builds it, and it saves the MO file. So you see my timestamp here just updated to 7:26 p.m. But that's an annoying manual step. So what we're probably going to do, since these files are so small, is at startup time, we look at what language we're using, and we detect if the PO has a newer timestamp than the MO. And if so, we load the PO instead and just compile it over, right? Ourselves, and we won't use that third-party tool. We'll just make our own code to do it. So that way, we're sort of parsing the PO file, but it's pretty fast. But we'll see. You know, that's not what I'm going to do today. you're saying XML is not a format for data, but it's a markup language like HTML, but a lot of people use it as a format for data. Like, talk to everybody at Microsoft or Valve and tell them that that's not a data format, and they'll look at you confusedly. I also spilled soda on myself, only a little bit. That's a good way to start the day. All right, so I'm just going to start doing stuff. Let's copy over the strings from the witness. And that may not have everything that I want to have in the menu, but it'll be a good start. So I'm going to copy all the strings for all these languages, and then I'm just going to delete the .subtitles files. So C, Sokoban, run tree, data. I don't even have a strings folder. New folder, strings, and there, and then let's go console, our del, run tree, data, strings, star.subtitles, add run tree, data, strings. So are there any junk files in here? I don't see them. All right. So that, we accomplished something already. How great is that? We've got strings. Don't even ask me about subversion. I need to like make an official rant about subversion versus Git on YouTube that I can just link people to, because I say it over and over and over. Do I have a least favorite part of game development? Certification. Passing certification on consoles is by far the worst part. Or talking to publishers about contracts. All right. So we've got strings. So now let's do something to load these. Let's make a new file. We'll go Sokoban, whoops, source, and i18n dot. And let's just make a file so I don't forget to add it to source control. Source. Okay, and then let's go to main, and we'll sort of put this in our file manifest. And build. And we still build, that's great. We're up to 35,000 lines. Woohoo. All right, so here, I'm just going to straight up translate this. So let's just, I'm going to ignore the hash table part. Well, maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Let's just copy everything. Everything. All right. So this is all in C++, of course, and will not, whoops. Let's go see what the definition of the data structure was, and that's in i18n.h. And this was that, and we'll just do that. And we'll just translate this one by one and decide what we need to do. Oh, you're not annoying me. Nobody annoyed me. I don't know what. Oh, asking about subversion. Yeah, it's just that people ask me that all the time. Git is not an appropriate tool for game development. Sorry, but it's not. Because it doesn't handle large files well, and it doesn't handle centralized repositories well. Everyone says large file storage or system or whatever addresses the issue, but it doesn't. It totally doesn't. All right, let's use the same name for the struct. And instead of a uint8 pointer, in general, binary data in this language is just a string that happens to hold binary. I don't remember what this variable reversed is. Let's look at that. Oh, if it's on the wrong endian. Right. Let's make that a bool. So if you detect that this file is the opposite of your CPU's endian, then you can swap around the indices. But the text itself is in UTF-8, so you don't need to do anything to the text. All right. Num strings is going to be an int, sure, that's fine, and that's fine, and that's fine. And I don't know about this hash table stuff. Like, why is it a void star? And then this got added for Arabic, and we'll probably do some more right-to-left languages like Hebrew or whatever. Yeah, this is a descendant of the code that I posted on the website. So yeah, this is actually online. It's a very small amount of code. It's just a few hundred lines, which made it easily shareable, right? Okay, so this kind of constructor stuff we don't need anymore because that's old. Make localization text, and let's pass the folder. String, language, name, string, and name, sprint. What happens when I do %%? I don't remember. Let's just do that. And then okay, so we have read entire file. So we'll do that. Data is read entire file name. And we return a success. If bang success, return null. Oh, I wanted to return. So instead of doing this in an object-y kind of way, which the C++ code was, I'm doing it a little more in a data kind of way. So I am going to just allocate one of these localization texts off the heap, but yeah. Okay. So text, new localization text, using text. So now I can refer to local variables on this as if it was like an object with members. We'll leave Ignacio's comment there. So if data.count, because we don't have a separate length variable, this file is too short to be a valid .no file. Okay. Long pointer, cast, pointer v32, data. And then here are target numbers. We get rid of all this other nonsense, get a cleaner situation. And we'll just print this for now. Magic is, format int, magic base 16. Okay. So that's all good. Why can't the localization text be on the stack? Well, it could be, but in general, we want this to hang around for the lifetime of the program. So it's either going to be a global or on the heap. And you know, if it's just one thing that I allocate at startup, then I don't too much just mind heap allocating it for generality's sake, because sometimes, you know, you might want to load up multiple ones or whatever. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter that much. I don't tend to get crazy about optimizing this kind of a thing, like one-off kind of things. So I'm going to leave these, except instead of this, I need to make an Emacs macro to line things up by the equals, because I've been liking that lately. Instead of this, we're going to say text. And if we got no hash entries, we'll abort. Oh, the hash table's built into the... Wait, I don't know. I'm a little confused, but whatever. I don't remember totally how this works. Okay, so we could optionally build the hash table, but actually it's built into the MO format and we don't need it. So all this add to hash table and build hash table stuff is only necessary if we were going to build that, but it's pre-built by POEdit for us, so we don't need any of that. Scope file, abort. We'll just delete MO data and I'm just going to print something here just so we know if this happens. So this isn't a method, so we're going to pass a parameter. And what else? Oh, this isn't delete whatever, right? We'll just do this. And this is just free. We don't have this delete shenanigans in this language. Okay, so this we don't need because this is something for validation that we're probably going to do differently next time. Get source string at index. I don't remember what that's for. Oh, that's just for this. Wow, so we're really not needing a lot of this file. Okay, this is probably not enough for us to use this, but in theory this should compile. I can almost guarantee there's a mistake. Oh yeah. Oh, because I've got C-style casts. I hope somebody saw that. Okay, so we don't ever have to cast to or from void star. That's dumb. In fact, I think we can just do this. Wait. Yeah. Not all control paths return a value. Oh yeah, return text. Return statement is missing argument 1. Wait, what? Oh, here. And here. And here. Oh, reversed used to be an integer, but I made it a Boolean. And we need these read4 from offset stuff. So now I get to decide. So these are just things that like go into the file, and I guess they're in the header in C++ because they're inlined. Yeah. I don't need the from pointer version. I just need the from offset version. So let's do that. Read4 from offset, colon, inline, U32. Okay, so let's using that. We'll get rid of some of this. And this is that. That's that. So my swap 4 is probably somewhere random in the witness. Where is it? Font.cpp? Oh, it's got to be in a header file. OS entry points. Really? Swap 4. All right. So this is just, let's copy this out and my swap 2 as well. You know, these are just dumb endian swaps where, you know, on a target CPU, you can if-def this to something faster, right? Just about every CPU has an instruction that'll byte order reverse something now. And in fact, let me just see if I have something already in this code base. Sokoban, come on. Could be anywhere. Let me just look for a second, because I don't want to swap buffers. Okay, that's not it. Serialize. Backwards. Oh, that's a very boring endian swap. Okay. Yeah, I feel like we don't have this, so we're just going to do it. This is not really written to be fast, it's written to be clear. My swap 4 and my swap 2 can be specialized into CPU instructions on almost all modern CPUs. These are versions. Okay. And then my swap 2, U16 to U16. Oh dear, what happened there? Oh, there's some kind of bug. Do we have a weird thread bug in the error reporting? I guess so. Oh, still, okay, unsigned short, that's no good. Matches multiple possible overloads. I already had a my swap 4. I knew it. It's in font. Look, I have a my swap 2 and a my swap 4. Let's mark those inline. Well, let's keep this comment. That was worth something, but the rest of this, I knew I would have it. MO data not declared. Using, all right. Oh, and capital null is not a thing. Here in civilized country, we use lowercase null. Left type string. Right. Right, because we're, okay. You can't cast from a string, but you can cast from the string's pointer data. So a string has a length and a data pointer, so you have to get the data pointer. All right, well, that's pretty good. We're compiling. Nothing new is going to happen because we didn't make anything new happen. So let's make something new happen at init time. In init game, I'm going to say at the top of init game, make localization text, data strings, and I want the MO here, .mo. And let's just load Indonesian. No. So we want something that'll fit in the current font that we're displaying. Let's go with German. Why not? So later we'll deal with setting our language identifier and stuff. So here this is DE for Deutschland. And let's see what happens. Well, we got the magic number and it didn't abort. So I believe it loaded the file just fine. So now we want to be able to look things up. Let's go to the C version. So because I end up calling this all the time, I made this procedure _I. And there's a few. So what you tend to want to do is you have one of those short identifiers and you look it up for any particular language. And then here it's like, well, here's an alternate that we could return. And then we have a variant that doesn't give the alternate, right? And then because Ignacio likes to const things, here's the const version because C++. So we'll take these and translate those. And we're going to need some more stuff. Okay, so some of this stuff can be file scope. This that we're about to paste is not, because those are entry points. But like this read 4 from offset, let's get rid of those C style parentheses. This can be file scoped, so let's drop that down there. Someone's saying Brazilian Portuguese. Maybe we'll do Brazilian Portuguese as well. I don't know. It's kind of like a style sheet. What? No. No, it's source code. Someone's asking if this is a style sheet. No, this is source code. That's source code that draws fonts. Okay. So we've got this _I, S string, alt S string, to string, and we'll return the empty string. I'm just going to have a global called delocalization text. And make, so the localization text equals, and I'm going to print the localization text is Oops. All right. So we didn't define get target index yet. Okay. And then if we got an alt, alt S, it's, yeah. So we have the ability to look up two things if the first one fails. You know what? I like this better. Oh, we have a fallback, right. So if we fail to get it in the language, target index is going to be get target index from there. We could factor this into a smaller function, but whatever. Okay, so we try pretty hard to get a translation. If we don't get the translation, we try it from English. And if we don't get English, we just return the label so that the programmers can see what's going on. We have incomplete log and error here, but in reality, we didn't ever need to log errors for missing strings because we had other ways in the witness that we validated whether strings were missing. So this case never came up in the shipping game. All right, so now I want fallback. And let's say localization folder is data strings. And we'll put that here and there. And then put that with baby version. Okay, and then for this version, we just say return is null. Just like the C++ version. Okay, so now we don't have these two routines, get target index and get translated string. So that's going to be a problem. Oh, did not match any of the possible over. Oh, because null is not a string, empty string is a string. All right, so now get target index. It doesn't like, because we haven't declared it. So let's go back to the C++ version. Where is it? There it is. Boy, we're going to need some helper functions for this. We're going to need get label matches. We're going to need get translated string. Do we call get source string? No, but let's throw it in anyway. So we're going to do all these, and then I feel like we'll be just about done with this file. Okay. So, get source string. So the offset is the original table offset plus 8 times index plus 4. We read 4 from that offset. Clean all that garbage up. Oh, actually no. I don't really overload plus for strings right now. And I'm up in the air about whether that's a good idea. So let's just do this. String offset, let's just say advanced. advance, s of a string returns a string, t is s, offset int, t dot count minus equals offset, t dot data plus equals offset, return t. So this is sort of what you would overload plus to if you were going to make an operator plus. Assert offset is less than or equal to s dot count. So here I can say return, well, t is advance mo data by string offset. And I do the same thing here. Something like that. No, we don't translate each word alone. If you go back and look at the file, it's entire phrases. So, you know, HDR message 4 is just some sentence that we want to print, and then we talk about HDR rendering in German. You don't translate word by word because that'll give you garbage translations. Okay. So label matches is a procedure, a string, it's bool. We get the source string. We do have equality double equals between strings, so whoops. So we can say return s is equal to t, and that should be fine. And then get target index. Oh, we're using hash stuff. So I believe I have hash PJW. The thing is, sometimes you make tweaks to hash functions locally, like, oh, and then we're also going to shove an XOR. So we're gonna port that to just here so that we're sure it's, because it has to match like whoever built the MO file, which could be some totally other program, right? So the hash has to be exact. Right, so then hash cursor, orig hash cursor increment. Well, true. I love just making the source shorter by deleting all this stuff. Of course, we don't have minus minus because I just didn't do it. If label matches, return index. Okay, so that's all done. So now we just need hash PJW. We'll make a comment. This is a volatile, must exactly match the spec. The hash function must be reproducible. Oh, is standardized. Is standardized. Stirp around. Okay. So we say while s.count so this is a little bit, this is going to be slightly slower because we're bumping two things. So if you really want to go down to the metal, you probably just do pointer math, but we're not quite, we're just making it work right now. Hash word bits. We need that. So much stuff. All right. Wow. You know, this is enough weird code that there's some probability that we could even invoke a compiler bug in some way, which would be exciting because we would like just fail to look up strings or something. I don't know. Maybe that's right. I'm sure I forgot to convert some C-isms, which I always do, but let's see what happens. Need to synchronize error reporting, unable to see. Oh, I guess I don't have left shift equal. Is that true? Wait. First of all, don't do the wrong. Did I not do left shift equal? That would be interesting. Maybe I just don't parse it correctly. Didn't advance any possible, did not match any possible overloads. Did I spell advance wrong? What's going on? Advance. You know, there's an overloading bug because something like this happened. It's already on my to-do list to figure it out, but in some weird cases, whatever I'm doing to look through namespaces for overloading doesn't work. Oh, and then hash PJW. I had called that my hash PJW and forgot. Oh, we do need read for from pointer. I had opted not to do this. So we'll put it there. From pointer using a text, void pointer, and an offset. You know what, let's not cast here. So if reversed, really this is the same as this, except you just pass an explicit pointer. All right. That's fine. Let's see what happens there. Ooh, oh yeah, because we printed the whole struct out. So, and we're printing the whole string. There's our file full of stuff. We definitely loaded it. All right, well, so now we have to look up some strings. Let's look up some strings. We're starting to get fun. So let's not print out that whole giant thing anymore. We'll get these, and now we will say let's look up a string that we know is in there, like HDR message 4. So text, or M, let's just call it M. HDR message 4, print M is, comma M, right? No, it didn't find it. So that's interesting. This might be a time when I switch to the LLVM backend and start looking through in a debugger, because who knows what is happening. All kinds of stuff could be going wrong. We know that we loaded the data, but we don't necessarily know. Let me just commit. All right. So in case I do something destructive, I at least have a backup of this point when things actually run. Now, let me make sure I just spelled that. No, there's no underscore here. There's no underscore. Still didn't find it. Well, it was worth a try. HDR underscore message 4. That looks the same. All right, so let's actually try debugging. I haven't done this in a while, so who knows if it's going to work, but LLVM backend. Oh, geez. So I have to debug something in the compiler, because I just recently made it work with. Oh, I'm just appending this twice. Okay. So this is just, I did some changes to the way you know what, I think this should be that, right? Should all be base name. So now I have to go recompile the compiler. Where do I not have Visual Studio pinned? Why do I not have Visual Studio pinned? Probably because it never works when I do have it pinned, but. All right. So we recompile the compiler. And hopefully we won't have such a bananas path. So, all right, well that's better. It's just not, cannot Soko debug 0. I should have tested this the other day. Why? We're just in one case. For all these other ones, the 1, 2, and 3, I must have just again failed to add something. These are really dumb bugs, but whatever. So here is where we do our link command. Command/no logo, target file name. Right, so target file name. Is that really? Let's go back and look at the x64 output. We're also getting it wrong. I don't remember what that's even supposed to be. Hi, okay. So LLVM probably just needs it to be in the same folder as all this other stuff. So let's just try that. Let's just try that. This is the fun of the compiler being in development. I don't know. Where do those other ones come from? They must, yeah, okay, whatever. They must get added after the default. So we'll do this, actually. So this used to be that, and now it is this. And let's see what happens. All right, well that did something. Oh no, we're still in x64. That's why it compiled so fast. I was like, that was fast. Oh wait, it's not LLVM. Okay. Oh boy, all right. I really broke something. This is unfortunate. I don't want to, you know, it's probably like a 5-minute fix, but I don't want to try to get into it on stream because that'll be bad news. So I'll try to fix it later. But I apparently broke the LLVM output path yesterday, which means we get to do printf debugging. So everybody who asks me, when are you going to release the compiler? Why can't I use it right now? It's because something like that might happen, and then what are you going to do, right? All right. So let's go back to the x64 backend. It says Soko debug. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I burned enough time on it. I want to stay on topic because I'm having fun doing the internationalization thing. So it's probably just something super dumb. Right, so we're going to do some printf debugging or something terrible of here. So start with _I. This is super dumb, but when you have no symbol data, you just do this. I could do some awesome metaprogramming thing that like instruments my code and tells me what it runs, but you know what? I'm just going to be dumb. ABC. So it didn't return. Target index. Oops. Printf debugging. You really shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, we know we should find it the first time. So I'm not going to debug any of the other stuff. Target index -1. So that's what we expected. So let's figure out why. SVS. So let's see. All right, so both, yeah. So that's good. So the number of entries seems about right, 250 something. That seems plausible. We could check that. Let's look at the PO file. It's 500 lines, so I don't know, because it's 3 lines per entry. How could there be? I think there's more like 100 and something. So that 251 number is, to me at least, slightly suspect. Slightly suspect. I imagine when I did something with one of these like pointer math castings that I screwed up. Oh, this is so primitive. I wish I could use the debugger. Wait, what? Wait, what? Okay, that is... Okay, so, right. So our string T is way too long. Why is that? Get source string is returning the wrong thing. It's not... Right, so we're advancing the MO data, but we're not setting the length on the resultant string. Are these 0 terminated? I think they're 0 terminated. Like in the yeah, so we just set the pointer. So, you know, in this language, the standard string is length delineated. So we're going to say t.count equals sterlen t.data, which is annoying, but then you have the thing handy. If we were to do our own format, we just put the length in, so we don't have to do a sterlen. There we go, it worked. So the message is das HDR rendering kann im the actor inverted. So that's good. Okay, that's a good place to pause. Let's take out all our stupid printfs. Printf debugging is not really a good thing to ever do. You'd rather use a debugger, but given that we had to do it, I'm glad it went so quickly. Okay, so I'm going to commit this, commit -m Einstellungen aktiviert. Any questions about what we're doing so far? So we're now about to hook this up to the menu, and I don't think we have translations for everything, but we'll just put something in funny for the ones we don't have. Anyone have questions, though? Questions? That's not a pointer error. I think it's just the console. Well, let's look at what it says in Emacs. I think it's just the console not printing the string properly. There's a way that you put it, is it like CHCP 650, whoops. I don't remember if that's the right thing. Yeah, so there you go. So you have to change, because Windows is stupid, you have to like change the code page on the console to get correct output. So there we go, there's your umlaut. Defer is scope based, so if the end of your scope is the end of the function, then it'll happen at the end of the function, otherwise it'll happen in whatever scope. Do I intend on doing x64 specific optimizations? Yes, eventually. If so, do you think that generating fast code would be very hard? Well, generating fast code, there is no limit on how much effort you can put in and how much speed you can get out of that effort, right? So the question is just how much is good enough, and we'll see. I mean, I'm putting that off till later, so for now, if you want fast code, use the LLVM backend and badger me to fix whatever stupid path bug snuck in there, and it'll be good. For print whatever in a struct, will it it will deconstruct the struct to print. It'll print out the whole struct. In fact, that's what we did the first time when we printed all that junk. And I have a demo from a long time back where I just show printing of structs and stuff. It all just works. I don't speak German, no. In which format do you send the English strings to the localization teams for them to work on? Sometimes I sent them PO files. Sometimes I just give them a few strings in an email. They get annoyed at me sometimes for not sending them formats that they know how to deal with. I want to research what's a good source format for keeping stuff in, because .po is not that good. I'm going to heat up some tea and turn on the fireplace, and I'll be right back. Well, so let's do some graphical things now. So we have our menu here that we did earlier today. And now what we're going to do is any string that we pass. So remember we had this draw item routine that just draws each line on the menu. Any string that we pass to draw item, when we draw it, we're going to take it untranslated and we're going to say text is internationalized of untranslated text. Right? Now, if everything works, then so far we should be able to run again and nothing will be any different, simply because we're going to be looking up our English strings in these databases which don't exist because they're not the right things. Yeah, so we're still drawing all that stuff. But, oh, my B is still there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so now let's look in the English place. So I have, for example, a quit here, menu quit. So let's go into the menu and change the quit to menu quit. And we'll have menu confirm quit, and it'll ask us if we want to quit the witness because all right. So let's see that. We can binden or bist du sicher, dass du the witness verlassen möchtest. So isn't that great? Isn't that great? Any questions about that, what just happened? Because I'm just going to go on from here and just do it to all these different items. Stop. Okay. So we're going to do this to all the menu items, and the ones that we don't have translations for, I'll just put something in English. So we probably have a, what's going on with my keyboard? Load, menu load game. So menu load game. And I'm going to change this. So the strings will be wrong in the other languages, but I want them to be what I want them to be, and then the other languages will be a little bit wrong. So we don't hot load translations right now either. We could, oh, I wonder if we should do that. Maybe later. All right, so I just rebuilt the MO. And, okay. So there's no, wait, I thought that should have changed. Do you translation in the compiler? No, no, no. I just had strings I pulled over from the witness, and I've just ported in some code that looks up strings. We're just looking up strings in tables. That's all we're doing. It's really not very complicated. However, I don't understand. Did I not say? Oh, I didn't save the file after I changed that. All right. Spielladen. That's great. So we have a restart somewhere, don't we? Yeah. So restart, are you sure, is menu confirm restart. I don't seem to have menu start a new game, and we're going to change that to campaign. So menu start. We're internationalizing controls. We don't have a resume. So I'll just say message ID menu resume, message stir resume game, and message ID menu menu overworld, message stir exit to overworld, and let's rebuild that. So, okay. Oh, we didn't do music yet. So the things that we have translations for, we're getting in German. The things that we don't have translations for, we're falling back to English. So let's see if we have on and off. We don't. When you do translations, you want to be very specific because, for example, if you just say on and off, you might come to some languages where they need to be different words, like if it's a masculine noun that's on or off versus a feminine noun or whatever, right? So, here anyway, it doesn't matter because we put this, but you could imagine a case when you just wanted the word on or off in English, but in a different language, it might need to be different depending on where in the menu it is. Okay. So, I need to rebuild this again. Now we're not also we have these hello sailors and load sailors that are not internationalized, so we need to do that. So, here we go. We're still hello sailoring. We're still loading. And just to show that we're cool, we can go we can go pick a different language, like Spanish, right? So again, some of the stuff we're falling back to English, but we can iniciar una nueva partida, for example. Cargar partida. We can also do that. I think it's ESLA is the right code. So we also have, we have European Spanish versus South American Spanish. Although in this case, they're not really much different. Let's do French. So this is good. So for all the European languages now, we're good. The problem we have now that we're going to approach next is for non-European languages, this particular font does not have the appropriate characters. So we actually need to switch out the font based on what's going on. So before we do that, are there any questions? Oh, you know what? Before we even do that, we're going to do something simpler and we're going to do a command line option that lets you set the language, and as opposed to me hard coding it here. How am I choosing the locations where the text is drawn in the source code? You can watch the previous stream from today, which is now on YouTube, to show me. I programmed that whole menu from scratch today, and it's all on video. Do I have Norwegian? We do not have Norwegian for the witness. We did Norwegian translations of store pages and stuff, but we didn't do the full game text. We did 22 languages, though, but Norwegian was not one of them. British translations, maybe. Yeah, well, maybe for this game, we'll add Norwegian, right? We'll have more strings. I want to do Danish because I have some Danish friends. There's a lot of languages in the world when you get down to it. There's really many. Most Danish people who would play a video game know English, let's be honest. Would I ever do something crazy like have the compiler convert the untranslated strings to an index in a string table to avoid the HT? You could. Yeah. See, you don't want to bake these into the executable because at startup you want the executable to be able to detect the language. Someone might change their operating system language between one run and another run. Like on the PlayStation 4, you can go to the system menu and change the language. And your game's supposed to respond to that. So we don't want to bake the strings into the game. We just want to look them up quickly. That said, instead of looking them up every frame, you could do a thing where you look them up the first frame or at startup time and then store those pointers. It's just that for something like a menu like this, it doesn't matter, right? If you optimize the crap out of something that only takes a negligible amount of CPU time in the first place, then you're making your code more complicated and more resistant to future change, and you're not getting anything in return for it, right? So I think it's important to balance that. For every game that we've done, it's totally fine to look strings up at compile time, because rendering one of those strings is way more expensive than looking it up in a table. Okay, let's do command line arguments. Do I not do arguments yet? I might not have a way to do command line arguments in this entire compiler. Is that possible? I think that's probably true. Wow, oh boy. Maybe I won't do arguments yet because that's gonna be, I mean, I could do that now. How did I get this far without ever doing command line arguments? I don't honestly know. The thing about that, maybe we'll do a separate stream for that because we'd have to go into each of the back ends and make it work. Actually, no, it's not that hard because it's the same in our runtime support library. It's not that hard, but it's off the topic of what I want to do right now. I want to get the languages nailed down, so we'll do that in a different stream. My gaming streams, I don't usually archive them. They usually just go away. Yep. Yeah, I mean, main isn't going to take any arguments. Right, I obviously should have remembered this because I just said it the other day. It'll be more like you call a function to get what the command line arguments were. So, because usually you don't want those in main, actually. You want them in, you want main to call some other procedure that then processes the arguments. So why not just get the arguments from that procedure instead of main? Anyway, let's look at, so in addition to all these different strings for all these languages, we have fonts for different languages. Carmina is a font that I like because it has a lot of European characters in it. But although nowadays, back when I did Braid, that was uncommon. Nowadays, people are better about fonts, so there's lots. Let me go to the witness and get some fonts. Look at all these. We don't even use most of these. This folder has a bunch of stuff that like where we tried them out. Let's go into the witness source. It's been so long, man. All right, so just look at all these includes we have in our main file. C++ for you. Let's just look at the fonts. Okay. So here's what we do. These are all the fonts that we use for various, so this is Korean, this is Japanese, this is Russian, this is Chinese simplified, right, for mainland China, and this is Chinese traditional for Taiwan, and Arabic. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to copy this code and we'll adapt it. But first, we want to copy the data files. So we want the CJK, which is Chinese, Japanese, Korean, right? But this one's specialized for Japan, that one's specialized for Korea. Let's get Lava Pro. Let's get Nodo-san, CJKSC regular, TC, all right. And then Arabic is Greta text. We'll change all these fonts later because we don't want these fonts to be the same as they were for the witness in this game, but for technically making sure all the systems are in place, it's fine. So we're going to add these. Some of these fonts are free and we can distribute them, you know, with demo projects in the compiler, but others are not free. So we'll like we had to license them to use them in the witness. So we'll sort that out later, which is another reason why I'm not just giving things out. It's like, well, there's potential legal issues we have to sort out. So we added some fonts. Would I ever rewrite Braid or the witness? Or would that be a waste of time? Well, the witness would be a super pain in the butt. Braid would be easier, but still a pain in the butt. It's unlikely anytime soon, maybe eventually. So Arabic languages and other languages that are right to left are definitely more involved to render, and you do a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go too much into it today, but you do a bunch of stuff to deal with it. Fortunately, there are libraries that can help. Okay. So I copied the fonts over, I checked them in. Let's where does this Latin language get set? So we set it to true, right. Basically, we set Latin language to true, and then based on what is happening here, we set it to false. What the hell is that? Whatever. Okay. So, do we not init fonts? Oh, we just do it here. Init languages. So, we'll take care of that in a second. And then, of course, all of this turns into S is equal to so this is not particularly, you know, it just is what it is. These are the languages that we understand that are not Latin. Okay, so let's make globals for that. So now, so down here, we will say the language is French, and this will eventually be set on the command line or by detecting operating system language, right? So we just put that there. And then our fallback is always English. So that's good. So we call init languages, and that does some things. And now we'll paste this. Look at all this junk that we do. This is just all, you know, stuff that we do based. This is how, you know, how you get through life when you're doing internationalization. I should have done all that. Okay. I'll do this whole thing that I just did again. Okay. So, okay, let's see what these were. Ooh, get rid of all the junk, because it ain't C++. I don't think I need the mod OTF right now. I just need the OTF. All right. So we init the languages, and we say, and that is 1.0, and that is 0.0, and that is 35. And if it's not a Latin language, if it's Korean, that's our font name, that's our spacing. Yep. If it's Japanese, that's our font name, that's our spacing. If it's Russian, that's our font name. We leave the spacing the same. If it's Chinese. So you tweak the spacing because just different fonts and different languages need different layouts. So like Chinese is big block characters. You really need to leave space between one line and another. Arabic. All right. I believe I just hard-coded this too. Language is right to left. So I'll just put that there. Return name is equal to Arabic. That's the only right to left language that we support right now. We will support more in the future. But for now, oh, I've got more C++ stuff down here. Okay, right to left is, language is right to left. And I don't know, extra fonts is 0. And then we need 2 fonts right now. So if you remember in the menu, we had 3 fonts, but version we're always going to write in English. So title font and body font. Because we're going to poke these from the outside, we'll rename them. Oops. If we had namespace loading, we could just peek into the namespace of this file, but I haven't done that yet in the compiler. So I need to pull these out of the scope, and then over here, we're going to set these fonts. We're going to say the same thing. Menu body font. Why did I put menu? Menu body font is get font at size, font folder, font name, XX big font size times 0.3. Oh, but so we'll ignore a lot of this stuff right now. We just want to get the different fonts working, and then I'll figure it out. So the thing is, scaling fudge factor, right? And then our other font was menu title font. Which was O dot. Wait, O dot. How did I get an O dot 3? That's an O dot 9. Oh, because this was O dot 3. And 1.6. Okay. So, and then we get rid of this, and we don't have subtitles right now, and we're not setting any other fonts. We probably will use fonts other places in the game, but right now we're concerned with just getting the right thing to the menu. You have to declare that. Insert menu body font. Really? That's weird. I thought I did. Oh, because it's a cert, right? Okay, yeah. Something I got to do. All right. So this is okay because we're now running through all this crazy code that I just did, and we're still loading the font correctly and all that stuff. So this is good. So now let's see what happens if we don't do French. So let's say we do Korean instead of French. What is going to happen? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Okay, you ready? See what happens here. Not so good. But, you know, we'll get there. Arabic's hard. I just have to make that work again. I believe I did I don't know. I did something before I did the right to left handling in the witness, and I need to port it over to here. So Arabic ain't so hot right now, but there's some Japanese for you. Chinese. Oh, let's try Russian, because Russian looks cool, right? There's some Russian. So that's good. And, you know, so when I release the compiler, I'll be releasing a demo program that does all this stuff that you can just take and mess with. So this is sort of part of what we're doing, is building that foundation here. Yeah, I think I'm not using HarfBuzz right now. I use HarfBuzz in the witness to do Arabic layout and stuff. And this particular rendering system that I ported is from a different game that I was prototyping before the witness, so it doesn't have that stuff. So someday I can go over and pull that stuff over, but until then, the Arabic ain't gonna work. Really, what's bad about this font? What's a better Russian font? It's too serif. Okay. Well, let's pick a different. I think I had. There was this one. Let's see what that looks. Oh, I didn't save it. Well, you get your serifs for now. Sorry. Notisons. Okay. No, I don't have the regular notisons. Let's try open sans regular. Wait, that didn't change. Oh, because I changed it in the witness, not in the game we're actually working on. What's it called? Open sans dash regular dot ttf. There we go. Does that look better? It doesn't look as good to me, but I'm not Russian, so. Someone else says it's an okay font for Russian. Thanks. That's weird because this looks like a cheesy, crappy font to me. But if it's more Russian, then that's fine. Different culturally and everything. Okay, so this is pretty good. This is sort of what I had expected to get done today. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe I could do the command line stuff. Maybe I could just watch a movie and go to bed. I don't know. Let's change the default back to English for checking it in. And let's make sure that works. Yeah. So we internationalized today, and it only took a couple hours. Of course, I already had the code in C++, so whatever. It's a good head start. Norwegian, yeah. Did the menu text animation disappear? No, it didn't disappear. It's still there. What are you talking about? Still there. Oh yeah, I could call get command line on Windows, but then doesn't it return you the command line like with spaces in it, and then I have to parse it and all that garbage, which I'd rather not do that because it's sort of wasted work. Let's think about making command line options available. Because that's really what we need to do to finish this job. Oh, command line to argvw. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to do it a different way. So here's our runtime support that we link into LLVM and x64 version. I showed this before, and it doesn't have a lot of stuff. It's 134 lines. And it's got our main here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a static variable here. I'm going to say, I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to say static new string the arguments. And main is going to say the arguments dot count is argc and the arguments dot data equals argv, right? So this is just setting it up as a native array kind of a thing. So the complication here is I don't know if I support big return values from C correctly yet. So my procedure to get this, so I'm going to make a getter for this basically. We're going to say void get command line. We'll worry about how to name this later. And we're going to put that into a pointer for now. And we'll fix it. We're just going to make the capability, and we'll make it nice later. And we'll just say, if result, oh, gotta put parentheses, star result equals the arguments. So that's really not very exciting, but that's all we need to do for, oh, maybe for C as well. Maybe everybody uses this library now. Yeah, I know it's invalid C89. Look, he's got to break some eggs sometimes. All of this is going to change. These names and whatever are all going to change. Doesn't matter. Okay. Well, let's go into basic, and we'll say get command line arguments. Result is a pointer to an array of string, and that is foreign compiler. Well, see things that are, yeah, I think that's how we do it. That's how we do it. Now I'm also going to have to implement this as a compile time procedure, because what happens if you're running inside the compiler in bytecode and you call get command line arguments? Maybe there's a way, yeah, I don't know. Because you don't want to get the arguments meant for the compiler. You want to get the arguments meant for your application. All right. Unresolved symbol. Oh, I gotta rebuild the. Well, there's several things that I have to do, so let's rebuild runtime support.obj. So we'll here. Modules make DLLs. Oh. I made a mistake. 117. Wait, 17. Wrong file. 117 dot data equals. It's not a void star. It's a char star, obviously. What? Oh. I did the wrong thing. Okay, so that's great. Now, oh, because I have to. Hold on. I don't remember how to use dump in, really. Okay. Look at all those symbols. To get command line arguments. All right, it's there. Unresolved external symbol. Am I? Oh, because there's a different one for x64. Frickin'. Right, it's right here in the file, right below. So because of slight differences between LLVM and non-LLVM, we make two different libraries. Hey, that linked. Do I dare even do it? I guess I do. Right. All this stuff is for an old version of Sokoban before I broke it into its own project. So that's not great. Whoa, yeah, what? Okay. I'll deal with that later. Anyway, that's the old Sokoban. We don't need to worry about that. So we supposedly can get command line arguments now. So let's go into main. And here, well, let's go to main. And we'll say, we'll do the DPI awareness. We'll set the context logger. We'll set the working directory. And then we'll say, handle command line arguments. And that will be up here. Args, what did I call it? I called it get command line arguments. And for args, print arg percent it index it. All right, let's just see. This could crash horribly. Like I don't even know what's going to happen. See, oh, right. This is the awkwardness. Is that I had to do this. Right. Am I dumb? What? Didn't save the file correctly. All right. I don't know what's going to happen. It crashed. Why did it crash? Oh, because, wait, I made it the wrong type. This is totally dumb, right? Get command, it's not a new string, it's a static array. It's a static array. What, am I stupid? Am I stupid? Static array result. What is my, see, this is, streaming makes you stupid is the problem. The arguments that, of course, it's the same, so I don't think this is going to matter at all because new string and static array, see, I'm extra stupid because I didn't realize they're essentially the same thing. They just have a count and a data. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's rebuild those just in case. Because why not? Oh. Now it's a U8 pointer because that's how we roll. Whoops. All right. So this is still going to crash. That's fine. So count is 1, which is probably right because that's the name of the program. Data. Oh, duh. No, dude. Okay. Here's what's happening. Is these are not. Right, so these are not native strings to our language. They're C strings, which are zero terminated, of course, right? So because anytime you interface to the low level like that and you're kind of like casting stuff all over the place, you run the danger of doing something bad. So for now, I want to write a wrapper anyway to make this better. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say double underscore get command line arguments helper is going to be the new name of this. And we're going to convert these into native strings. So get command line arguments is going to be nice. It's going to take no arguments. It's going to return an array of native strings that have lengths attached. And we're going to say C strings or C args is an array of pointer to U8 because it's unsigned 8-bit thing. We're going to say this get command line arguments helper of C args. Then we're going to say result is an array, an array of string, array reserve result for cargs.count. And for cargs, s is a string, s.data equals it, s.count is sterling it, array add result s. Returns results. So args is this. This is nicer for us to call. We don't have to have a weird pointer. Checking argument 1, wanted array, pointer to array of string, no, because I got to change, right. This is pointer U8. Sterling T, because I don't want Sterling to become standard, so I gave it a really awkward name of C style Sterling. Get command line arguments helper. Did I not make the DLLs again? All right. See what happens. Hey, we ran. Hey, we got our argument. So if I do this, run this, and I say dash language French, it's not going to appear in French yet, but we should see separate arguments. There we go. Thing dash language French. We see arguments. It's like seeing dead people, but different. Okay, so we see arguments, and now we're just going to handle arguments. How are we going to do this? I'm going to say cursor is 1, while cursor is less than args.count, and then we're just going to say if, we're going to say arg is args of cursor, if arg is equal to dash language, cursor plus plus, if cursor is equal to args.count minus 1, print error, missing argument after dash language. Should probably have a standard thing. Screw it, we'll just return. Otherwise, language string, is it called the language string equals args of cursor. Okay, so maybe that just works, right? So that didn't just work. Oh, because we reset it. So we have to not set it to English in init game, and we have to make sure that init game, we have to make sure that init languages happens at the top. Because otherwise we'll use the language string before we set it in init languages. That still didn't work. Why didn't it work? Arguments. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I don't go. Wait, what? This should have infinite looped, first of all. Wait, I didn't even compile this. There's no, what? This is freaking me out. What the hell? So you should see that. Cursor 1, args.count 1. Oh, because I'm running the wrong, I want to run that. Oh. So let's, just for giggles, I was running it with F5, which is hard-coded. So let's try that. So missing argument after language, that's fine. What happens if we do French? Set the language string to dash language. No, that's wrong. And the reason it crashed is because we set an unknown language and we don't check for that, I think. Args cursor +1. No, that's, we got to put the French. Put the French there. Hey, French. Now, German. Hey, German. Korean. Hey, Korean. And Russian with the font that the Russian guys like. Hey. Great. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. And that's quite nice, actually. It's quite nice. Oh yeah, so I want to see, so if I run with a made-up language, that's probably what crashed it. No. Oh, going to the menu with a made-up language crashed it. Why? Because the internationalization should not ever return null. Okay, well, first of all, if we error unknown pop up a message box or something, unknown language, so let's at least detect this. The language string. No, we got to run with the garbage argument. Okay, unknown language, whatever, resetting to English. And we'll do this first. And we'll assert, because we better be running with an English. And then okay. So that now works. I'm going to take a short break again, and then we can do some questions. There's a little bit of stuff that I haven't done yet, which is querying the operating system language from Windows. Like if somebody hasn't set it on the command line, you probably want to start up, but of course that's complicated because like if you're running on Steam, do you listen to what Windows tells you or what Steam tells you, etc. But we're going to ignore Steam today. All right, so 5-minute break. 5-minute break. All right, back in a couple. Okay, so I'm thinking we'll do the querying from the operating system next. But do people have questions about what we've been doing? Questions? Why do people ask why people make new programming languages? Like if people didn't ever make new programming languages, you wouldn't have any programming languages to program in. Think about that. What other command line arguments? I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Resolution probably. Oh, we could do that today. I want to finish localization, but Like, you know, controlling the size of the window is a pretty obvious thing to do in the command line. What ideas do I have for my next game? We're not talking about that today. You know, every designer has a lot of game ideas. Game ideas are not the hard part. All right. Seems like there's not many questions coming in. So we'll just kick it forward a little bit. Oh. Will I support calling main as a regular function during compilation? We already do that. I've demoed that before. It just works. Am I interested in creating an engine to go along with the language? Well, sort of. I mean, I don't want to make something that's like Unity or Unreal or something, but you know, I could very easily envision having a game like this that you can play and that you get the full source code to, and it'll have components that are libraryized, like, you know, maybe getting the internationalized strings and stuff. And then for the rest of the game, you can just rip it apart and do whatever you want to it. So I think something like that will happen. But it's like we're not going into business to compete against Unreal. Anyway, so I'm going to go back to the witness. Actually, let's, here's what we're going to need to do. We're going to say, if we're running on Windows, then we're going to load just a file with Windows-specific stuff. And okay. Did we add the internationalization? I think we did, but yeah, we already got that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make a procedure that we could define differently on every OS, and we're going to call it OS set language string. And what we're going to do is we're going to call that in main before we do this, before handle command line arguments so that args can override OS language, right? So we call this first. The operating system tells us what our language should be, and then we paste command line arguments. This specific game, so the code that I am writing right now will be open sourced. Some elements of this specific game probably won't be, for reasons that will become clear later. So what's going to happen is I'll put out something that's like basically this game, but minus the parts that we can't give out. So, but it'll be a full game. It'll like do everything that you want to do. And it'll be better because it won't have all just the tweaky, very game specific if statement stuff in it. It'll just be like a general, like, hey, dude walking around. Okay. So right now that should compile and just not do anything. Yep. So now let's go back to the witness. Witness source game OS Win32, and here we have a thing called decide language, and we're doing all this very Windows specific stuff that I may not have bindings for. When we let Steamworks decide, maybe. You know what? Let's do a similar thing. So here we said the language string is en, but let's make it the empty string. And we'll do the same thing. If the language, because that way we can chain multiple ones of these together. So if Steam gave us a language, we won't ask Windows or Mac OS or whoever, right? Let's just paste all of this, because this is all the set of languages that we have strings and fonts to support. And there we go. It's basically the same. And let's call it the same thing. Let's, decide language. Screw it. Decide language. All right, so we're deciding our language, and basically I'm just going to do this. So I don't think we have a binding for get user default LCID, so I'm going to have to do that. And the rest of this, I'll just leave the parentheses in there, whatever. They're not necessary, except for this one. Yeah. So that should compile, and it'll probably complain that we don't have get user default liquid. Oh, the language string. What? Undeclared identifier of the language string. Is that in file scope? I bet it's in file scope. That should be global. All right, so get user default liquid. So we got to look that up. Get user default liquid. And that's going to return a liquid, which I don't know what a liquid is, but all right. So for now, we're just going to put this here, and then we'll migrate it up. So we'll say get user default liquid is no arguments and returns this foreign what library? Kernel 32. Actually, let's put it in basic because that has a kernel 32. Get user default liquid. What the hell is a liquid? This doesn't tell me. Liquid to locale name. What is a liquid? Tell me. D word. What? Is it just a D word? Whatever, it's just a D word. Who cares? Do I have D word? I don't have D word. S32. All right. So to really test this, I'm going to have to change my operating system language or something, and I don't know if that propagates to the shell. We can at least verify that it's returning us a reasonable number. Format int space 16. All right, liquid is 409. Wait, what? Oh, 9 is the, okay, so that's English. So that seems reasonable. How do we change the language in Windows? Can I even do that? Is that possible? Windows change language. Region. Let's try Korea. Okay, no, let's try something I can at least sort of deal with, like Spanish, because that way I can get back here. Spain. Is that going to change? Oh, that's not. Spanish from Spain. Okay, is that gonna do anything? What happens if I? Well, this is all in English. Wait, that's format. What is? Okay, none of that. None of that was right. Okay, so let's add a language. Spanish. This is a pretty fly interface. Spanish. Open. Okay, cancel. Why didn't that add? Wait, what? Spanish. Okay, it disappeared now. And then what? Wait, what? It didn't have Spanish Spain? Dude, I don't even know what this means. Download and install language pack. Okay. Let's get Latin. Living la vida loca. Oh, I thought I was choosing Spanish Spain, but I guess it popped to all the Spanishes. Never mind. Maybe I'm just tired and I didn't see the interface for what it is. Oh, it's taking a while. Oh my God. Oh my God. Any questions while this is taking a while? Any questions? Language code identifier. Yeah, I'm not going to read that right now. It's a 32-bit int, yeah. I know. Oh, the bar moved. Hey, the bar's moving. Bar's moving. Bars moving. I'm making slow green bars that move from left to right, apparently. What's my favorite power of 2 number? I don't know, 64. Whatevs. Well, I don't know if I can support fanboying, but I'm glad that someone enjoys that I'm streaming what I'm working on. That's cool. I want this green bar to go all the way to the end of the bar slot. I almost said the headshot thing and I stopped myself. I almost said the headshot thing. It's taking longer to install this language pack than it did to program internationalization. Like, that's an exaggeration, but come on. This is where Windows is at these days. Like, it's not even downloading. It downloaded it a long time ago. It's just like installing. What is wrong? What is wrong? Seattle is nice as long as I'm not outside where it's really cold. I have a good time here. I've been streaming here because I have internet at home. All right. So now how do I actually switch? Make this the primary language. Oh, come on. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to reset the stream and wait. I'm going to stop the stream in the normal way.